I think it sends a very inappropriate message to the people of Texas that the first bill that the legislature is going to pass this session is going to be a voter ID bill. This is going to happen, and so I'm resigned to it happen. I want them to go ahead and do it quickly and get on about trying to solve these very serious problems, maybe the greatest problems that's ever faced any state legislature. When I was in office in the 60s and 70s, we passed a tax bill every single session. We increased the appropriations for higher education alone 1,800% in 10 years' time. 1,800%, which was incredible. No state had ever done that, but that much for higher education. We ranked in the top 10% of the states as far as teacher salaries and money that we were investing in public education. The University of Texas ranked in the top 10 publicly supported universities, and A&M ranked in the top 20. Today we find the University of Texas ranks 47th, and A&M ranks 63rd. We're not even in the top 40 colleges and universities. It's because of the lack of new money that going into education, and even worse than that, we had the lowest tuition and the cost for college for young people to attend colleges and universities in Texas. And quite frankly, the last 10 years, the only new money, real dollars that's gone into higher education has come out of the pocketbooks of the students attending our colleges and universities, and our students must pay their fair share. But it's not fair for Texas to be number 2 in population, and we're 45th in tax per capita. Everyone that knows anything about government recognizes the fact that you cannot run the second largest state in the United States and the fastest growing state in the United States on a tax base that's 45th. The rainy day fund was created for just the situation that exists today in Texas, and it's utterly ridiculous to say that we're going to go fire 350 teachers and our employees from the Austin School District because we're not going to take any money out of the rainy day fund. That's not acceptable. I don't want government by protest, but I saw in office, I saw young black men and women take to the streets because there was not equal opportunity in this country and they were being discriminated against. And because of Dr. King and the million-person march and his leadership and other leaderships, it was called to the attention of the American people. And Jack Kennedy recommended the Voting Rights Act changes and Civil Rights Act changes. And Lyndon Johnson, the legislative genius he was and the strong leader, he passed the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights laws of 1965. And we saw a real transition take place in this country, and minorities were given equal opportunity. I hope, and then I saw another example of people getting so upset that they went to the streets, and that was over the Vietnam War. And the Vietnam War was a long, costly war that probably the United States didn't have any business ever being there in the first place. But the protest helped bring it home. I hope the 30 million people in Texas that love this state as I do are not going to let the legislature not take the money from the rainy day fund and not raise taxes or raise fees in some ways. Remember this, that we have not had a tax bill in Texas now in 20 years, and it's remarkable. No other state has been able to get by 20 years without a tax bill, and we have pared down our state government. We've cut a lot of the vital organs out of our body of state government, and I don't want to live in a state where our state government's on a respirator and we're barely able to get by, and we're barely able to continue to live and to provide the services for these 30 million wonderful people that live in our state. I was blessed to be in Texas when we had some strong governors, and we had Governor Shivers and Governor Daniels, Governor Conley. John Conley had served as Secretary of the Navy, been a very successful lawyer, but he'd served as Secretary of the Navy, and he had been and seen what a lot of other states had done as far as research and development was concerned, and he knew that we had to spend money for research and development. We were going to get military contracts, and we were going to be a part of determining not only what was going to happen tomorrow in the military world, but to determine what was going to be happening in medicine and what was going to be happening in other important research such as agriculture and et cetera. John Connally came back and ran for governor for the right reasons and did an incredible job of going out and selling the Rotary clubs and the Kiwanis clubs and the Lions Club members of Texas and the Chamber of Commerce's and the labor unions. He spoke before all kinds of groups, as I began to do, talking about why we needed to do what we did. And not only did the tax bills pass, but the tax bills passed by 3/4 of the votes of the House and Senate. I remember specifically, I think maybe the biggest tax bill that I passed when I was Speaker got 138 votes. And I never knew of a House member or senator getting defeated for having voted for a tax bill. Why? Because we were selling the people of Texas, telling them what we were using their money for, and convincing them that that dollar of $1 invested got 8 in return. We were convincing them that that's what state government should do, and it was a valuable investment for their children and future and for their future. And so it had widespread support. And that's why I think leadership is not taking the easy positions, but telling people what they want to hear. No new taxes. We're not going to increase your taxes. We're going to give you more for less. Well, it just does not work that way. And so I think real leadership is in the hard times, by answering the hard questions with the very candid truth and trying to unite the will of the people and the will of the legislature together to be responsible not only for tomorrow or next week or next year, but to be responsible for the future of this state for the next 10 years, the next 50 years, the next 100 years. I connect serving in the legislature and being a part of government with creating opportunity and creating a better quality of life, creating more hospitals, more medical schools where there'd be more trained doctors and more people could have the benefit. I want our legislators and our elected public officials to have a very positive attitude about creating a better future for all the citizens of this state, rather than worrying about who we can take off of an expensive health care program, who that we can get by with half the prescription medicines, or even as suggested, heaven help us, we're going to only have 11 grades in Texas. We're going to eliminate the 12th grade to save money. I don't believe that that is what the people that came to Texas in those covered wagons and fought those battles into the battles like the Alamo and the others to get our freedom, and that this state has flown under 6 flags. That's not what the people of Texas came here and established this state for. Not for people to come to Austin with an attitude that is negative and they want to see what they can do to take Texas down. Texas is a lot bigger than any political party, a lot bigger than, and it's a lot bigger job than what the Tea Party people believe that they've come to Austin to do, to dismantle government. Texas is going to continue to be great. We're going to have some tough times, and this is a tough time. But I believe that probably these times are so difficult that I believe that Mr. and Ms. Texan are going to read, they're going to learn, they're going to become alarmed, and they're not going to let our legislature go as far as they are planning to go right now on cutting spending back, where that Texas will no longer function as a positive state government and have the proper impact on the people that live here's lives.